Hey guys, welcome back to another book list. Thank you to all my subscribers for coming back and supporting the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. This month for November, we are studying Asia, and we will be studying tigers and red pandas and giant pandas. And I'll be focusing on Japan and India, but I'll probably also have some other countries mixed in. This may be a two-part series. I don't know, we'll see, but let's get into the books. So the first two books are Spicy, Spicy Hot and Eyes That Kiss in the Corners. If you watched my short, I gave a little sneak preview of these. Now, the first one, Spicy, Spicy Hot, is actually a story about a grandmother from Indonesia, and she comes to visit her granddaughter, and she wants to cook a good meal, and her father keeps telling her how good of a cook grandma is and that she makes the best food. But when her grandma comes, she starts cooking for the family, and she makes something called sambal, made out of hot chilies. And when the little girl Lin Tang tastes it, well, it is spicy, spicy hot. And so the whole story is just about Lin Tang trying to enjoy her grandma's cooking, but it's difficult because she's not used to eating such spicy food. And it just is really funny because it kind of reminds me of my own daughter. She can't handle like a lot of spice, but she's kind of built up a tolerance to it. But then at the end, the grandma really wants her granddaughter to enjoy the food, and she tries to find something that Lin Tang would like to eat, and at the end she does. And what I like about this book is at the very end of the book, there is a recipe for the grandma's sambal, mango sambal, and you can make that with your kids. The next book is called Eyes That Kiss in the Corners, and this is a nice book. It's about a girl who realizes that she looks pretty different from everyone else in her class and from her friends, but she also recognizes that she looks just like her mom. And she says her mom has eyes that kiss in the corner, and when she comes home after work, they laugh together, and she says like her mom's eyes light up like sunshine or a sparkling starlight. And so this book is really just about this little girl loving her heritage and realizing that she looks just like her family. It's a sweet story. The next books are informational books, educational books about red pandas and the giant pandas, because that's what we're going to be studying about. So this one is National Geographic Kids Red Pandas. It is a level 1. And just like with most National Geographic books, they have realistic pictures, which I like, and not a lot of wording for the level 1. It's just a good overall book for learning about facts. I just really like the pictures. And Scholastic does a series on giant pandas and red pandas. These books have some more information, a lot more wording, so maybe they're better suited for second, third graders. This one's definitely first grader level, but you can read these to your kids, and they have really good information. And let me show you the inside of this one. So again, realistic photos, and it tells you a lot of different facts about panda bears, and it's a good book. But honestly, out of all the books on giant pandas, I like this one, Giant Pandas by Gail Gibbons. Gail Gibbons is just an excellent author. I like all of her books, and this one gives you all the information. I like the illustrated photos. My daughter likes this too. She likes real photos, of course, but this looks more like a storybook. It's not a storybook, it's informational. And honestly, if you can only get one book, I would say just go with this one. This one's really good, and it has all the information that you need on giant pandas. And yeah, it was really good. The next two books are books kind of about like being accepting and having pride in who you are. And so this one is the Berenstain Bears. My daughter loves them. This one's called The New Neighbors. And so what happens is there is a house in front of the Berenstain Bears house that is for sale, and they wonder who's going to move in, who's going to be the new neighbor. And Papa Bear doesn't understand why the real estate lady wouldn't tell him who's moving in. And then they see who moves in, and the bear cubs are happy because they have kids. But Papa Bear is a little unhappy. He's grumpy, and his family doesn't really know why. And he says, well, they're just different. And so the story is about meeting the new neighbors and how to be a good neighbor. The next book is called Suki's Kimono, and this is a book about a little girl named Suki, and she's in first grade, and it's her first day of school. And so her sisters are wearing their new clothes that they got for school, and Suki is wanting to wear her traditional kimono that her grandma gave her over the summer. And her sisters say, that's kind of weird. People are going to laugh at you. People are going to stare at you. Nobody's going to want to play with you. And Suki says, well, this is what I like, and I'm going to wear it. And so she does. And as they get ready to go to school, her sisters walk in front of her. They don't want to be seen with her because they're like embarrassed about their sister. And sure enough, the other kids start laughing at her and making fun of her. And she goes into class, and the kids are kind of giving her a hard time. She meets her new teacher. They do show and tell. And Suki talks about her kimono and that her grandma gave it to her. And she shows them how to do a Japanese dance. And then she sits down, and actually everybody loved Suki's show and tell. And at the end, her sisters are walking home, and they say, nobody noticed my new sweater. Her other sister says, nobody noticed my cool new shoes. And Suki just smiles. So it's a book about being comfortable with yourself and the things that you like. The next few books are about Japanese culture, and the first one here is My First Book of Japanese Words, an ABC rhyming book. This book is really good. I don't know why it's called My First Book exactly. It just shows beginners, but it's definitely first grade level, I would say. Maybe even kindergarten. But what I love about it is that it gives you a word, and then it has a picture that corresponds with the word, and it has like a little rhyme, and then it shows you in katakana or hiragana and kanji. These are Japanese writing styles, what it would look like. And then it also has like a little informational text about, for example, how people use chopsticks in Japan. And I love the illustrations. It really reminds me of Japanese anime from like the 90s. And it's just really cute. Very, very Japanese style art. And my daughter really liked this book. The next book is called Japanese Celebrations, Cherry Blossoms, Lanterns, and Stars. And this is a beautiful book. I love the pictures, but I will say it is very confusing because at first they kind of start off with the months of the year. So they go like January, February, March, and then for some reason they go into the seasons, autumn and winter and spring. So that's a little confusing, but this whole book is just about Matsuri, festivals and holidays in Japan, which I really like, and I love all the little pictures that they put in, but it is kind of a lot. It's like a overload of stuff, but this is definitely something you could read part of to a first grader. Older kids will probably enjoy this a little bit more, but it is very interesting. The next book is called I Live in Tokyo. As you can imagine, it's all about living in Tokyo. And so it goes through the different districts of Tokyo that you would find if you went there. And it has the map of Japan, which is nice. And then this is a little family who's in the story, and they tell you about all the different things that they do. And what I really like about this book is that it goes through all the months and the different things that you can do in each month. And what is nice is in English it says January, and then here it tells you in Japanese what January would be written as in Japanese. So this is Ichigatsu. So this means 1 month, month 1. And then here it has the pronunciation Ichigatsu in English. And so I thought that was really cool. And they do that for each page, like I said, for each month. So this is Nigatsu, February. This is how you would write 2, and this is month, second month. And yeah, and it just discusses like the different things that this family does in each month as a Japanese family. Now the last cultural book is called Asian Arts and Crafts for Creative Kids, the Tea Ceremony. And I had thought about taking my daughter to a tea ceremony, which is why I got this book. I thought it was going to be a storybook, but it's actually like a very in-depth explanation of Japanese tea ceremony. And it is really good. It is very thorough, very in-depth. I will probably only read part of this to my daughter, but it would be good for older elementary kids, and I think it's good for younger kids if you do take them to a tea ceremony, so they just kind of know what to expect and maybe what the way they should behave during a tea ceremony. The next 2 books are fun storybooks, and this one is a story from India, and it's by none other than Jan Brett. You guys know it's not a book list until I tell you about Jan Brett, and this one is called The Tale of the Tiger Slippers, and it's really good. I like this one a lot. And so basically it's set in India. There's a tiger family, and this little tiger boy, he talks about growing up poor, and his mother makes him shoes because he has to carry rocks and water to the house without any shoes, and she sees how it hurts his feet. And so she makes him these special red slippers, and as he gets older, he actually becomes a successful businessman, making buildings and homes, and he becomes very wealthy. And when he becomes wealthy and he gets ready to get married, well, there are other people around him that tell him, that's great and all, but why do you wear such raggedy old shoes? And so throughout the book, he has people telling him, you need to get rid of those raggedy shoes. And so he does, and he keeps trying to get rid of them, but they always come back to him. And so at the end, he tells you why he keeps his raggedy old shoes in his nice mansion. Another really fun book is Rikki Tikki Tavi by Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling wrote The Jungle Book. I do like The Jungle Book, but I've always liked the story Rikki Tikki Tavi. And if you haven't heard of it, this story is set in India, and there's this family there, and this little boy who is saved by this little mongoose, and mongoose don't like snakes. They kill snakes, and so this mongoose saves the little boy by killing a deadly snake, and the family takes in the mongoose, and it's all about the mongoose living with the family. And there is a big bad cobra in the garden who's menacing and, always threatening to do things. And it's just a story about the mongoose fighting the cobra. And last but not least is our favorite book, I Am Tama, Lucky Cat, a Japanese legend. So this book was so good. My daughter loved it. We've already read it like 3 times. But this book is about a little cat, of course, who goes to a temple, a Buddhist temple, and she's homeless, and the monk in the temple takes her in and cares for her, and they become really good friends. But the monk is very poor, and the little cat wants to give back to the monk for taking her in, and so she becomes his companion because that's all she can do. But he is very poor, and she always tries to think like, what can she do to help him? And one day it rains, and she goes out in the rainstorm, and the monk worries about her, and he's like, no, don't run away. She ends up on the temple steps, and there is a samurai warrior who is taking refuge under a cherry tree, and he sees the cat, and his eyesight is fixed on the cat. He's mesmerized by her, and the little cat lifts up her paw because that's how she says hello. And so the samurai goes over to where the cat is, and a lightning bolt hits the tree, and basically he says that she saved his life, and because she saved his life, he is forever grateful to her, and he said, you will want for nothing, and we're gonna fix up the temple. And so he does. And what I really like about this story is at the end of the book, they tell you a little bit of history, and this is actually supposed to be a true story. So there is a real temple, and they believe they know who the samurai warrior was and where the temple is, and people to this day still go to this temple, and they say that there really was a cat named Tama, and this is why cats are considered lucky. And the cool thing is that this temple still takes care of cats, and I believe that there's like a cat cemetery there, so there are cats that are buried there, and people honor and respect them, and I just thought that was so cool. So of course my daughter absolutely loved this book because she loves cats. So I hope you guys like this list and that you can incorporate some of these stories into your learning, and I will see you in the next video.